Welcome back to another episode of The Wyld Way, where we want to inspire every man to live with eternal purpose every day, because we believe if you find your why, you will find your way. Let's go.
I'm on it today.
Come on, Pete. Let's
go.
go.
Still not doing the end.
Come on, Charles. Let's go.
Airphone.
Yes. Oh, man. Today, we are going to be talking about building with purpose. You know, we believe that each one of us has been put on the planet with a purpose to bring new things into this world. And no matter, we've done an episode on created to create, right? The identity, the inspiration, the impact of what we're called to create. And so what we want to unpack today is this kind of different projects that God has called us to build, and just our process that has led up to that, tell you about what we're doing, and in an effort to inspire you to go do the same as well. What has God put inside of you? So previous episode, we talked about purpose, right? The identity that precedes activity, or you can think about the content, who I am, what I do, my gifts, my talents, and then the container, the different areas that I go into in life. It just simply contains the identity that I have. So, Pete, you are up to some awesome stuff, and you've been up to some awesome stuff for a while now. And we just want to give you the space to tell us your story about Daily Kairos, how that got started, and where are we at now, and just kind of inspire us to think bigger about what our lives can do.
Thank you, Billy. Charles.
Yes.
For those who don't know, I feel like this might have been said before, but it always helps
to the mic, bro.
Always helps to share again. So Daily Kairos is a 13-week journal that was really started at the end of 2019. But to tell a little bit about the story, I had been a guy who liked to journal a lot in my devotional time with the Lord, got away from it, and then I was at this huge transition in my life where we're having our first child, Ellie. And when we had her, I was really struggling to find consistent time with the Lord because a new baby, I knew all this stuff. I didn't know how to get my sleep worked out, and I just was really kind of out of whack. I was just struggling a lot. And I had this moment, I'll never forget it. I was sitting on the couch, had Ellie in my left arm, had my laptop on my lap, and I was so done with work, I would just, basically shut my laptop down. And at that moment, I just had the idea of the journal that I had been, the process I had used for a decade, coming to my mind. And I literally put her down, put the laptop down, ran over and got pieces of paper. And the sun was like coming down on my dining room table, and I just had them spread out, and I just started writing. And I was so excited. And someone was there, so I didn't want to tell Jordan yet. That person left, and I told her. And this was in May. And I just May of 2019.
Okay.
So I told her about it, and she's like, "That's really cool. It sounds really awesome. But we're still working. We're still doing what we're doing, and nothing really comes of it until probably like June, July-ish. Jordan was on a run. She was listening to a sermon, and she came back from the run. She's like, "I really just feel like the Holy Spirit telling me I need to give you freedom to pursue this and to be creative in whatever way you say." And I had kind of like not thought about it too much until then, and then I really started thinking a lot about it. So I started working out. I mean, that was just one iteration of it. I started working out what it would look like and spent a lot of hours researching, so much research. And then the word Kairos was introduced to me. And I remember where I was when that was happening. And I was like, this is it. Because for those who don't know, Kairos is a Greek term. The Greeks use two words to describe time: chronos, like chronological, and kairos. And chronos is sequential. It's like, you're measuring you're looking at your watch, you know how to tell time in a sequence. But Kairos is really a time where you can't put time around it. A wedding, graduation, or as Christians, for us, it's like an opportune moment for the Lord to break through, to speak to us, to be with him. And for me, that's exactly what I wanted this journal to be. And that's what it has been for me and thousands of others, thank God. So that's where we came up with the word Daily Kairos, because we want you to do it every day. 13-week journal. And I'll get to the specifics of it in a second. But we decided to kickstart it. So we kickstarted it in November of 2019. Got funded a few weeks later, and then really I didn't do too much with it. It was the beginning of 2020. My wife, Jordan, me, Ellie, and our two dogs went out to Colorado in our fifth wheel that we go out there every winter. We were still working and just hadn't done a lot with the journal because it just wasn't at the top of my mind at that point. We still had clients.
Yeah, so tell us, what did you do before that then?
So we've been digital marketers for the past 4 or 5 years. So we worked with a lot of local clients, specifically in the wedding industry. We were building out education programs and doing live training with them. And we actually had basically like an online course that we would teach wedding professionals how to grow their business. And we were doing that in the first few months of 2020. Come back from Colorado, pandemic hits. Day I'll never forget. It was in the middle of March, and I was like, we got to give this a shot. Like, we got to go for it. And I was like, we had done all these things. We had a professional website built out, and we're doing a lot of things that I would not have done, but I was like, we got to do this the right way. And I'm like, let's go back to what we know we're good at. And so that's a lot of our skills in digital marketing were around building things out the way we like to build them out and running things how we like to run them. So we just went for it. March 28th, we launched like new campaigns and new websites and new everything that we did. We didn't hire anyone to do it. And from that moment on, till this day, we probably have sold 16,000 journals at least, maybe 17,000.
Wow.
And I think the pandemic, for us, it was the perfect storm because the word prayer has never been Googled more. And people wanted to pray and people wanted to understand what was going on. And so we were at a really good place, at a really good point in one of the most tragic things ever for this country and world. And this just happened to be a tool people wanted to use through that.
That's amazing.
That is the most dense highlight ever. I mean, like, and we were all buddies at that point. And so I remember, like, it's a funny moment. Like you brought this up and showed me like a draft that you had. I'm like, this is great. Like, because so many people struggle with discipline of setting aside the phone, undistracted time with God, right? So again, we're looking at this lens of purpose with understanding that we've been put here for a reason by God. And so unfortunately we get distracted and so many people neglect the thing that is most important is to walk with their maker. Yeah. To spend time with their maker, to commune with him. It's a deeply transcendent and spiritual thing, and you can't rush it. Yeah. And so I love, again, just from the habit level perspective, like when you struggle to build a habit, you may need a tool to help overcome that threshold. And Daily Kairos is such a great way of just having a tool to set aside the digital distractions and get here with the analog, just the text, the paper, the writing out. There's something beautiful and organic about it, where you can actually sit down and write out your thoughts and it forces you to process what you're reading. Yeah. I just absolutely love it. And I think 16,000 other people have loved it, right? So, and so it just proves that this is meeting a massive need for people that live in a rushed and exhausted world to be spending time with their God at a daily level. And I love the term Kairos. It's such a great, I feel like most people haven't been exposed to that idea of like the moment. Yeah. Right. Living in the moment is kind of like carpe diem, like seize the day, seize the moment, seize the moments with God that you have and being intentional and just all around building that intentional lifestyle with God. So I love that, man. And this was a cool part is it corresponded with your 30th birthday. Why don't you tell that?
Yeah. Well, I really, felt it on my heart to launch it on my 30th birthday. We ended up launching 2 days later just for some technical reasons, but I was like in the same boat as you were last episode talking about being 30 and this is going to be my year because of Jesus's ministry and talk about an example that was set 2,000 years before us. But I was like, why wouldn't I take this seriously? Why would I just like be kind of about it? I want to put this out and I want it to be on my 30th and I want it to be a marker for my life. And it was really cool because my wife threw me a surprise party. And Billy, I believe, Billy or Jeremy or both prayed over me for the 30th birthday and really, set this thing off. And it's just, those are things that we can easily overlook if you have a project or something you're working on and, you kind of tell some people, but to have people pray over you for it and to ask for that specifically, if it is in the Lord's hands, he's going to work through it and work through you through it. So I think that was a huge catalyst of this.
Yeah, man. It's just exciting. It's been so fun to watch this take off.
Thanks, bro.
And it's felt like a family win. I'm like watching a brother win and I'm like, yes, come on, man. And it's so clear that this is like just part of your personality, part of your identity. They're deeply creative and like intentional. I mean, you've been writing poetry. You're like the ultimate warrior poet we got here, right? You got the hair and the flow to prove it, So
the main,
bro.
We just want to look at you, Pete. That's all.
Mr. GQ over here making us jealous, Charles.
Somebody get this man a magazine.
Cut. But it's so cool to see that come together for this season. And, there's so much more, obviously. It's not like Daily Kairos, ride out till you die. But, that this is going to be something that you can build even further from. So tell us more about, what, you've got a journal. Mine's a naked journal and yours is not. We got some other things here. So tell us more about what's been on your heart as you kind of have listened to people and got a lot of feedback from customers and you see more needs that you're trying to serve as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And I think that's where we're at now is really taking more feedback and being able to take criticism. I think you need to if you're going to grow. So the first thing is people want more room to write. And so we're just in the process now of finalizing these basically moleskins, but they're called prompted journals. And anytime you feel prompted by the Holy Spirit or a prayer or a praise, they'll actually fit right into the back of your journal. So we're just finishing those up, and they'll be done this quarter.
This is leather?
Yeah, it's vegan leather.
Love this.
Yeah. So, and we're seeing if we like the cross instead of the bullet type of journals that people love. They're like mini crosses on there. So if you look inside, but that's just more of like a supplement to me. It's not really a tipping point product, but for us, it's more of like people are asking for more space. So we just want to continue to serve those needs there.
And it's great because you can carry this in a backpack. It's small enough, but then you can carry this in a pocket.
Yeah.
Right. And like you said, it's got the pocket in the back here. I mean, like you really have thought about how to integrate this all the way through. So that's just awesome. I'm a huge fan of little guys like this.
Yeah.
Or like, I've a note on my phone, but I just love the writing things down so that I can have something with me.
Yeah.
And it's got to be small, classy, and portable. So
fit in your pocket.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And there's so many, I love working on ideas. I was just telling them, and ideas are so easy, as Mark Cuban says, ideas are easy, execution's the game.
Yes.
But that's
say it again for the people in the back. Say it slow.
Ideas are easy, execution is the game.
Let's go.
So I mean that's the hard. That's what's so hard. And
well, you're killing the execution game.
Killing it.
It's you see a little thing like this, and this is 9 months of it's so easy to write the ideas down, but to put them in the process and to bring them to life is a whole different animal.
Different beast.
The tipping point product I'm really excited about is Q2, is really what we're calling the deep dive deck. And these guys have all tried them out, but they're 90 cards that are really centered around life and faith. And, in the middle of the pandemic, as the Kairos journal was launching and growing, I was like, we're just looking at our country and looking at what's going on. We're losing the art of conversation, and I hate it. And I want to be able to talk to people, and I want to cancel culture. I want to be able to talk through things, and I want to be able to talk not just with my wife, but with neighbors and friends and family that don't have the same views, or even just want to go a little deeper. That was really the heart of it first. Like we said last time, I don't want to just talk about Bridgerton and Lord of the Rings or whatever you're watching on TV or the sports. I want to actually know how you're doing, and I want to know what you're struggling with, or even just know. Let's just talk about the verses you're memorizing and why that impacts you. Because these are conversations that bring life to others, and you can impact people in just having those conversations. So for the past year almost, we've been working through 90 prompt questions that are anywhere from like, what was the scariest thing you ever did, which is more of like the deep, not that hard of a question to ask, to what is sin, or why do we need Jesus, or some more of the heavy hitters there that we can really dive into based on comfort. So that's what we're really excited about for halfway through this year. Over at Daily Kairos. Coming soon.
Love it.
Coming soon.
That's great, man. Cancel culture through conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Fostering a sense of mutual understanding.
Yeah.
Great, man. I love how, this is business at its best, is meeting a need.
Yeah.
And people pay for it. And I love that. I think you just do such a great job of modeling what an entrepreneur can be and should be as a Christian. Obviously an explicitly Christian space, but then you have the opportunity to interact with a lot of other entrepreneurs who have this faith background. So how does your faith impact not just the product that you have, but how you are an entrepreneur, how you're a businessman? How does that kind of interact?
I think, that's a great question. How does my faith impact the how I am? I think what we were talking
or why? Maybe how does it impact your why?
My why?
Well?
Yeah. Well, I think I want to put products into people's hands that are going to make them really draw closer to the Lord, but also I want people to think more. I want people to think deeper. I'm a thinker. You're a thinker. You're a thinker. We're all thinkers. And so for me, it comes naturally. But, the last episode we talked about purpose. People just don't give themselves space to think because we get consumed with other things like media, TV, etc. And so I think about that in the framework of, man, how can we bring glory? How can I further his kingdom? Well, let's talk about someone who doesn't even know him. How can we get them to start to think about him? And how can we start replacing some of these things with something that's truly valuable and eternally going to impact their lives? And it sounds simple with a little journal, but when you sit here day after day and you're memorizing your verse and you're writing out what you're reading through, you start to develop a habit of like being with God. And then what's greater than wanting to be with him? Yeah. And so I think that's how it really impacts that side of things. And the other side is, as you grow, as things happen, as it happened with us, way more opportunities come your way.
Yeah.
But often those opportunities are not the opportunities you want. And so I really need to use my faith and where the Lord is leading me to be able to say no. Because maybe a year and a half ago, some things that have come on my plate now I would have taken. But now it's like, that's not really where I see this going. I don't think the Lord's pushing me there either. And so thinking about like, you know, that eternal perspective in the back of my mind always leads those decisions.
Yeah.
It's challenging because sometimes they seem like they're good. But
How difficult is that when we live in like the grind culture? And it's like, get all that you can get. We got to grind. We got to say yes to everything, every opportunity. Like,
Yeah.
How difficult is it to say no to things, or is it not at all?
It's so much easier now. It took 5 years to be able to say that.
Gotta learn the hard way, right?
The amount of times we were burned and just got wasted on money, like burned our money wasted by someone else. Just too many learning experiences there.
Yeah.
And now Jordan and I can spot a bad idea for the most part a mile away. We've been in partnerships that didn't work out. We've done things that we look back like, why would we ever go into that business? We just wanted to start growing and building, but that's not where we'd ever want to go.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's seeing like, yeah, we live in this grind culture. You got to grind, hustle, but what happens at the end of that hustle? Now you're doing this. Is that really where you want to be? So maybe it's a little harder. This is challenging. Like, this is still challenging to this day. It's every day a grind, but at least I trust where I'm going with it rather than something that might not be as hard yet and would get me somewhere different that I wouldn't want to be.
Yeah.
So
I think it goes back to what we said in the last episode, finding what grieves you about the world.
Yeah.
So something you're extremely passionate about is, obviously this is something that's on your heart. So you're creating products to meet that need.
Yeah.
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 That's great, man. And I see this one has got some fancy cowhide on it. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah. Shout out to Paul's Leather Co. If you don't know him, check him out. He's an awesome dude, Christian entrepreneur who's built his business from the ground up, and he started making Bibles in college. He just didn't like the one he had. I think he actually had to rebind it. So he was in California, I think, went north, found the best cowhide there was and started binding his own, and everyone there wanted it. So that's where he started his business, and now he just makes Bibles from this amazing cowhide and also journal sleeves. And so we had a really good conversation, and we just exchanged products, and he made us a custom sleeve, and we're going to hopefully be collaborating with him soon. But the cool thing about him, and really inspires me a year into business, is that he is super passionate about taking the gospel to the ends of the earth through his business. And so what they do is a percentage of their funds, they actually donate to missionaries. And he has like 3 things he does. Once a week, they pray for them, like a solid time. Him and his wife will pray for the missionaries they send out. Once a month, I think they like Zoom or Skype them. And then once a year, they actually go and visit them. And he said the first time or second time that they did it, the missionaries were so caught off guard. They're like, no one does this. People send us money, but to actually come and be here and help us and serve with us. And you can just tell that is what he is. He loves this product, but to be able to send the gospel out into the world it's just so cool. It's inspiring.
I love that rhythm.
Yeah, a great rhythm.
Once a week, once a month, once a year.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's so great, man. And I think what's beautiful about this is that, you know, you're basically through this helping people reclaim the dignity of their own humanity, right? You're slowing down. You're a human being. We talked about this. Purpose comes from intention and design. And so we are not designed to be consuming all the time. We have to stop, unplug, connect with God, and that restores that dignity. And I think the beauty of Christian entrepreneurship or creativity in general is going to be restoring the dignity of humanity in the process, right? Our products, the things we put out into the world, are going to be according to that Christian ethic of the good, the beautiful, and the true. And that when we encounter things that are genuinely good, right, genuinely beautiful, genuinely true, it gives us that moment of pause. And that's what I love so much, is that, you know, we, each one of us in our own way, and everybody listening to this is capable, and I firmly believe, called by God to bring something into this world that is an element of the good, the beautiful, and the true, to restore this world and to re-dignify humanity that humanity has torn down in cooperation with the devil. So
It's really good.
our world is just hopelessly torn down the dignity of each other, and we can remake society through living on purpose and building with purpose. And so that's part of the beauty of it, right? I think too much we have this heads, we think about the church space as the only way to do that. No, we need you crushing it, man. We need you
inviting the
doing
kingdom.
one step at a time, being an entrepreneur who does things like this. We need thousands of Peters in different fields, right, across the world to remake creation and redignify humanity according to God's purpose for them. So love what you're doing, man.
Thanks,
Love
bro.
it.
Humbled by you, bro.
Huge fan. I told you before, like the Kairos journal helped me out a whole lot. I used to, of course, read the Bible before. Like it was weekly I would read it, but I wasn't reading it every single day. I wasn't. But the journal, to be honest, is because I was just so excited to write in it that I just wanted to go read so I could write in it. But it helped me out a whole lot with being more consistent with reading the Bible.
Appreciate that, man.
No, appreciate you. You made it.
God gave me the idea. Glory goes to him.
Yeah.
And I think, I just hope people continue to see it as that tool to set aside their phone and be like, wow, I can open this up and open the word up, and this is my time, my space, my environment now.
Yeah. I know I've given it a bunch of the students that I know, and it's really been helpful for them. Again, kind of the younger you are, the more digitally native you are, the harder it is to actually unplug.
So hard. So hard.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Excited for what God's doing in your life and your business. And I think this is a perfect example of how who you are flowed into what you make.
Yeah.
It honestly, it's an amazing compliment, but it honestly feels so true.
Yeah.
It feels like the most authentic thing I've ever made from who I am. We've done a lot of things in the past because we are entrepreneurs, and this has been the most authentic.
Yeah.
So it is. When Charles was talking last episode about when you are in your purpose and you're doing it, there's nothing greater. There's nothing more exciting. There's nothing more fulfilling.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a cool thing. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
It's something I'm grateful for.
Look at this guy, man. Look at Pete.
on.
Look at Pete out here winning.
Dude, I love seeing as brothers, man. We're just, you know what? We're not just talking about it into a camera, right? We're living it. And that's why we, again, created this podcast, is because we want to get this message out there to other people. Not that we're perfect, but just say, hey, there's a couple of us out here trying to do this the best we can.
Yeah.
And then talk to the guys that are doing that too.
Yeah.
Talk to the men who are ahead of us, who are living the right way, and so we can learn from them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well,
School time. Learning from each other.
Exactly. Well, Pete, I can't give you enough props. You inspired me. When I look back, and I've always had a lot of ideas, and so some people know me as the idea guy, and so I've had to learn how to be the executor of ideas as well. Just having this heavy bias towards action, and it's not really a good idea unless I'm committed to doing it. It's just an idea, right? Yeah. So something that I've been working on, directly inspired from you in terms of seeing how much this has exploded. Just from a passion to pray and ask God of what lessons you've learned, is I've been writing something I've called "Win the Day."
Win the day.
Win the day.
How to win in an online world.
Oh my gosh.
It extends far beyond an online world, but it's basically just taking the sports framework of winning and then adopting that for daily life. So I think all of us want to be winners. Nobody wants to be a loser. And the beauty of sports is that it's so strictly confined when you think about it. Basketball is 10 guys on a court for a certain amount of time, get the ball through the hoop, don't foul each other, don't go out of bounds, have fun, right? And then it's just creativity in terms of what we do. So we're familiar with 5 positions and all this stuff, but whoever can innovate and execute the best ends up winning and on the fly. So it's very, very constrained environment. Life is not like that. So how do we bring definition and clarity in a way that helps us really win so that we can walk in our purpose? So
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Same.
And so hopefully within the next month or so, that'll be out, and we'll plug it. It'll be up on the wyldway.com.
Yep.
And that'll be totally free. 4-chapter ebook.
Share a chapter title or two.
So 4 chapters. We're gonna break it down to thinking like a winner.
Okay.
Winners think a certain way. You just there's no way around it mindset. Clarifying the goal. What does it mean to score? How do I know when I'm winning in life? Like it's birthed that kind of out of a pain point. When I'm sitting at home back in March, and I'm used to meeting with people all the time, I'm like, how do I know I'm doing a good job?
Yeah.
And so I had to go through this process of clarifying what are my wins. And so that at the end of the day, at the end of the week, I can look back and say, oh, I may feel crappy because I just sat inside all day, but I actually did a lot. And so I can consider this day a win. The third is going to be, what are the habits of a winner, right? How do we get 1% better every day? How do I make the small adjustments that have the massive impact over the long haul? So what does it mean to have a habit? How do I create new habits. Again, like think of Kobe and his footwork, right? Kobe was legendary for it. You know, he would go into arenas the night before and be in the gym for an hour just working on footwork, spot up shooting in different areas. And so this man was maniacal about the small details. And so I think we've got to be maniacal about the small details of life. Again, just kind of taking that sports mentality. And the fourth chapter is going to be about other things, kind of a, you know, catch-all of like other things that are going to help us, scheduling the most important things, figuring out how to do priorities, and, you know, making sure that we're doing the important things, not just urgent, and scheduling those important things. And then how to focus. You know, again, just I think focus is going to be a modern day superpower.
Yeah. And
the most productive people are going to be the people that figure out how to cut out the most distractions and just focus on what is most important.
Yeah.
So I think by the end of this, it's meant to be really practical, right? Like inspirational. I hope that you know, by the end of it, you're like, yes, let's go. But also stupid practical, and because it's got to boil down to action. Yeah. And something else, kind of a practical that I've been using is win the week worksheet. So every week on a Sunday night before my week starts, so tonight I will sit down and write out at the top I have, what are my quarterly goals? I have goals for, you know, the next 3 months. So that helps keep me kind of like a little bit of a further down the road. What are my top 5 priorities for this week? Sometimes I'll cheat, put 6, 7, 8. And so it's not quite a to-do list. It's a little bit higher level than that. And I'll put some like smaller to-dos next to it. What did I get done last week? So I know, hey, all right, I feel great about last week, or I feel terrible. What is holding me back from accomplishing my priorities? Is it discipline? Is it humility? Is it time management? Just identifying those thresholds. And then the last one is, who do I need to ask for help? I'm not designed to do this alone.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just kind of this framework again of sports, clarifying, and then just getting after it.
Who's this geared to? Is it like men, women, or?
Well,
anybody?
It's geared for anybody who wants to win in life,
yeah.
right? And be practical and just have some of these more life skills orientation. So men, women, typically, you know, if you're thinking about, I'm just trying to upgrade.
Yeah.
So, you know, in my context.
Level up.
Yeah, level up. I work with college students. So I think these are some of the practical life skills that most college students just don't have. And so this will be a practical resource. Hey, read this, do this. But I think these are things that I have learned over time, and I'm still learning. So, you know, I don't pretend to have arrived, but these are some of the life lessons I have. So really anybody.
When is this coming out again?
Next month or so. I say by, you know, mid-February we should expect
Let's
it.
go.
So be on the lookout on social media.
We about to be winning, boy.
Yes, we're about to be winning in life. So really excited. It's gonna be fun. And again, just props to Pete, seeing your project. Again, I'm not gonna sell anything. I'm not launching a physical copy of this.
We haven't talked yet. We don't know yet.
Oh yeah, maybe, yeah. But you know, just seeing how what you took from an idea phase to execution and the impact that's having, the positive impact, has inspired me when I first had this idea back in September to not brush it under the rug and say, oh, just keep moving it. It's like, no, this is a real issue that a lot of people are having. I talk to so many people. They feel like life is pointless just living inside. So how do we win?
It's good. I've been excited about it ever since you shared.
Yeah.
And the sheet that you do at the end of each week, actually at the end of this, on Sundays, for the most part, Jordan and I did almost the same exact thing. We have our goals, our quarterly ones written out, but every week we do the top 5, and it usually scoots over. But it's been a game changer, and I think it is a game changer in personal lives too. I think people really benefit from it because you actually look at it and you're staring at it. And you don't go into a Monday like, what happened? I just woke up and now here's Instagram. Oh, an hour goes by. Oh shoot, now I gotta get on that call. Yeah. Like have a little bit of formality to it. Yeah. So that's cool. I'm glad you brought that in.
And that's the exact kind of thing for the reason I started doing it. Yeah. I would wake up in the morning and I'm like, I just was inside yesterday. Maybe I got outside to do an workout, exercise. And it's the same thing again today. Yeah. So I'm like, what am I here for? I struggle with the feeling of purpose and direction and progress. Yeah. And so this has been really helpful. My feet I know what I'm doing in the morning. My feet hit the ground. It's not a question. And it's stuff that I want to do. It's inspiring me to go pursue what I have to do, my responsibilities.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah. Again, you're just pouring out what's inside of you. Again, what's grieving you about the world. It just seems like, first of all, how many great projects is coming out of quarantine? Like,
yes,
what?
so many good projects. This podcast,
literally, yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
yeah. I'm surrounded by winners, man.
Yo, well, Charles, tell us how you're winning. What's some of the stuff that you've been working on, and give us your why.
I'm always working on music, man. I'm always working on music. To be honest, it's sometimes difficult for me to talk about because I don't like talking about things before I put them out because it just seems like just all talk. Like, show me something and then we can talk about it. But I'm very, very close to the end of an EP that I'm working on, based off of feelings that I had during quarantine.
Yes,
Nice. It's gonna be good.
yeah.
It's gonna be pretty cool. I guess the inspiration really is I don't know about you guys, but I like doing this. You ever just at nighttime just go out and drive? You have nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just go out and drive and listen to your favorite music and just feel the vibes.
Yep.
Am I the only? You do this too?
I've done it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's really the inspiration behind it.
I'm the weird one out.
You're the weird one. Get like us. That's the inspiration behind this new project I'm working on. It's called Drift.
Nice.
Just sounds that I would want to hear while I'm driving around at night thinking about my place in the universe and why I'm here.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it.
it.
I used to do that a lot more than I do now, and I can remember songs. Like, I'll go when I'm home, I'll remember places and songs where I did that exact thing at night.
Yeah.
So
Man.
it's gonna hit me.
St. Charles, we're gonna hear his melody on the airways
Pretty
night.
soon.
Yeah.
What's the biggest struggle to getting started?
Getting started with
Just even getting
From
started
idea
with,
to creation.
Yeah, exactly. For you, because it's completely different in some ways, and it's probably similar.
I think because music is there's so many layers into it. I'm sure with your projects there are also, but for me, it's like I'm doing it all myself. So I have to write everything. So am I making sense? Am I being poetic with my words? Are the lyrics making sense to me?
So you start with the lyrics, or is it a sound, or is it a melody, or is it something that comes
it
first?
could be any. So
Okay.
it could be I get a melody and then I just try to find words that fit it, or I have words and I try to find the best way to sing it that it sounds good. Just me personally, I am attracted to melody. The first thing I hear when I listen to music is melodies. You could say whatever, but if I like the melody, then it just hits me in a different way. So I always try to think of just interesting melodies because I'm attracted to that.
Yeah.
But I say the most difficult part. Sometimes melodies come easy to me. I could think of a melody like that.
Okay.
So the most difficult part for me is the words. I spend more time thinking about, am I making sense with what I'm saying?
So before you get a melody, do you already have the idea of the drift? And was that already the idea? So you're gonna frame all of them around all the words around that?
No, the way I create is I just I be in my feelings a lot.
No, not you, Charles.
not I. So yeah, I just like, I write a couple songs, and I'm like, what is this saying? Like, how can I make this make sense as a project? And then I got the word drift after I had a couple songs together.
Got it.
Yeah.
Start with your feelings.
I'll be in my feelings, boy.
That's good though, man. That's
Yeah.
good. What do you hope other people feel?
Something. Yeah. Anything. That's my goal. We talked about this before in the creativity episode. Like, my goal is to make you feel anything. If you hate it, great. At least you feel something. If you love it, great. Like, I think that's what art is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you have some kind of response either way. I don't care what it is, but at least you feel something about it.
I hated it already.
My job is done.
I love it.
Love
you.
it, man.
Now you see our relationship. Pete loves me. This guy hates me.
He's a mediator.
The mediator.
Oh man, and I just think about this, like, for everybody listening. What first off, if you're, we want you to comment down below or wherever you're watching. Like, what do you want to create during this time? What's been inspiring you? What do you feel like is something that is the purpose of your life to bring into this world, so that we can, just start that conversation and just be inspired by what is inspiring you. And I think that's part of the benefit of this is, like, I think we get inspired by seeing other people walk in their purpose.
Yeah.
We've got to resist comparison and embrace our own authentic journey, right? I'm not you. I'm me. That's okay. but they're inside of me if I can get closer to my God. And there is something that God has formed me to build in this world. A family, friendships, meaningful relationships, serving our community, right? All these things are incredibly, they take an element of creativity that's aligned with our purpose. And I think we just need to have a broader perspective about what it means to walk in purpose. And then especially as men, if you're a man listening to this, I want you to know you have a responsibility before God to build. It takes men to build, to reclaim love and order in a society. So much of our world, right, is in a tough spot. It's really, quite honestly, in shambles because good men did nothing. So if you're a good man, Lottie frickin' da, right? I just don't care. Your own personal piety and morality means nothing if it doesn't get out and make a difference in the world. Because what is it for? It's not just for you, it's for other people. And it always comes down to purpose, right? We're here to make a difference. And it's hard. It's just hard. You know, like, I can't tell you how many times I've had a pep talk or given a pep talk to a buddy. Hey, man, I know it's hard, but we're here on this planet to move the needle. We're here to make a difference until we have no more breath in our lungs. And that takes on different containers, right? Different circumstances, family, friendships, work, passion projects, but make a difference according to the gifts and talents that God has given you and the passions. So, man,
I think that's the beauty also of God calling people to different areas.
Yes.
Because it's literally the kingdom of God, but in every area. So coming at it from writing a book, creating a journal, music, like we're all doing such different things, but it's all, to be honest, based off of like the gifts God gave us or the ideas God gave us. It's just inviting the kingdom in. Absolutely.
Yeah. I need Peter, right? Like, I'm a minister. I should be able to write a journal. I could never make this, right? Like, so, you know, and I don't feel bad about that because I know what I'm good at. And I know what I know who I am. I'm secure in that as I'm growing, right? And so I need you to do that. And then when I see this, I'm like, oh, this is a phenomenal tool. Like, let me get this in as many hands as possible. And I need you to make music. I don't have a musical bone in my body. So I'm like, you better do it or I'm not going to, it's not going to get done. So
we need you to encourage us, bro.
And I think everybody, you know, like, we need to embrace this reality that we have a responsibility. There are some things in this life that if we don't do them, they won't get done.
Facts. I'm not trying to get to heaven on full, trying to be empty.
I'd rather I'd rather wear out than rust out.
You
know, too many people are content with rusting out. And you know, talk is cheap, bro. Show me what you did. So
I think also we can't overlook the podcast. Like, this is something that we're building together also. Came out of did the idea come to us during quarantine or before? I can't even remember. It was during quarantine.
It was over the summer.
During the summer, and this is something actually that I feel like the turnaround was pretty quick.
Because I think we had I had this idea kind of bouncing around in the back of my head, and then I think it was a conversation you and me had, Pete.
I think so.
And then I was like, oh, it sounds like God's stirring something similar in your heart. So threw the idea out to you, but it was really like one conversation where I was like, it was confirming to me that this wasn't just a Billy idea. It was something bigger than that. So because I think that, you know, over time, God's given us something special in terms of brotherhood. Again, the three of us representing a larger community, but the three of us still having this unique friendship that other guys want, and we want for you, and we want you to find wherever you're at and to build again. Right? Like, don't just say, woe is me, I don't have this, boo freaking who, right? Like, build it. That's the spot I say that so strongly because that's where I was years and years and years ago. You know, we're my ride or die brothers. We're the guys committed to making a difference in the world. And I just felt it was a giant Billy pity party until me and another buddy started a small group. And then out of that small group grew friendships that have flourished into brotherhoods and now lifelong committed friendships. And so I had to take ownership of, okay, it doesn't exist the way I like it. So maybe I'm here to build it. And I think that that's something I see all the time. So if you see a need, take the lead.
If you see a need, take the lead.
There we go.
I love that idea.
Other thoughts on just to inspire us to build with purpose?
Well, I think it's more fun, and fun's the first word that came to my mind when you're building with brothers.
Yes.
It really is. I mean, I can have all the conviction in the world, but I tested this with all these guys and with others, and whatever you're building, even if it's not even about a product or music or whatever, your family.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have brothers, and you don't want the brother that's gonna be like, oh, you're doing okay, and you're not. I was listening to a podcast, and we were talking about actually having like real conversations. And if you're an NBA coach and you're coaching an NBA player and he stinks at throwing free throws, you're not going to say, it's all right, Johnny, let's just go get a milkshake. You want that coach to tell you need to keep improving.
Where you can improve.
Yeah. Or you just want Billy to say it. I said stink, he says suck, I said suck. But seriously, I tell you what you're not doing right. Because I don't want to spend time with people that are just going to tell me what I'm doing.
You need people watching your six.
We don't need no yes men.
Yeah. And that's powerful when we have people that we're in a context where we know we're committed to the other's good, first and foremost, so that those truths can be trusted.
Yeah.
Right? It's not coming from a place of jealousy or insecurity or tearing down, but it's like we have this mutual commitment to God, to one another. We've built this over time.
Yeah.
And Charles, what do you think, man? Just in terms of you're the more classic artistic guy of us all. Pete's a close second.
Pete's extremely artistic.
Very artistic.
Extremely.
Very.
This guy just got it up.
In terms of like when you like building something with purpose, do you have any more thoughts on that?
I think I got this idea from a friend actually. My friend Chasen, if you're watching, this is you. He told me something. He likes to build with God, and I didn't understand what he meant, but and I had never actually done this consciously before. But he said when he has an idea, he includes God in the entire process. So it's not just like, I got an idea from God, now let me just do everything I can to come up with this. No, it's including him in every step along the way. Like, okay, God, what do you think about this idea? How about this? What color should I make this? Should it be this? Blah, blah, blah. And hearing him say that to me was like groundbreaking. I'm like, wow. He said, I love creating with God. And I'm like, wow, like I never experienced that before. But it's something that I strive to do, like create with him. So even with the music I'm making right now, I'm incorporating him in the process. Like, God, what do you think about this? Like, should I put this out? Should I not? So I think that's a good point. Inviting him in and creating with him, whatever your idea is.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, that's really good.
You and I have both read this book by Sky Jethani with
it's so good.
How that God has always created us for relationship and partnership. And that posture is God doesn't want us just to do things for him or around him or because of him, but with him.
With him, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the beauty. And, quite honestly, that's where the term anointing comes in, right? We are given God's spirit to do
His
things.
approval,
His approval, his yes. And with that comes the power, the wisdom, the understanding, the fortitude, the perseverance to see it through.
Yeah.
So, and that's why we get so passionate
Yeah.
about talking about building and living with purpose, is because we've all experienced that. And we want that for everybody.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
man, so much more to be said, so little time. Unless you guys have other thoughts, I think it's a great place to wrap it up for today.
it's a great place. I think
place.
it's an amazing place.
All right, let's end with a challenge. Wherever you're at listening to this, take some time right now. Don't let another second go by to just think, what are you putting off? Is there something that in your heart that you would say that I would like this to exist and I don't see it? Or why doesn't maybe it's a point of frustration. You say, why isn't this happening? Maybe it's in your community, there should be something more that's being engaged, or you see kids walking around, you're like, who is going to help these kids become who God has intended for them to be? I firmly believe that if you have that indignation, it's probably you. And so what are you putting off? Who are you? And how can you submit to God in a way that will yield activity and fruit so that somebody else can be blessed? And so write that down. Take that to heart. If you've been looking for confirmation, just take this as your confirmation.
This is it.
And get going, right? Talk to somebody about it. Don't just have a plan. Get started on the plan. Make it a good one, and just see where it goes. Enjoy the process, and at least you'll gain skills and experience along the way. And at the best case scenario, you'll be changing the world. one project at a time. And so I think that as brothers, man, we got to build. Was it Nehemiah?
Rise and build just came to my. Yeah, I was just gonna quote him.
Come on, rise up and build, baby. If you're listening to this, rise up and build. Let's go. I'm so hyped right now. Yeah. That's what it's about. That's what life is about. Rise up and build.
Rise up and build.
Yeah.
All right. So it's that time, fellas. We got to sign off. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Go be wild. Thank you for watching this episode of the Wyld Way podcast. If you enjoyed it, give us a like, subscribe, comment below, or share with a friend. Thanks, guys.